eternity. All praise to Yahuwah, His word is our might. Precepts so holy, lighting up our night. We tell our children, speak of them true. Write them on our hearts in all that we do. Statutes so just, they shape our soul. Following His paths we're made whole. Daily we ponder, nightly we dream. Yahweh's wisdom like a mighty stream. All praise to Yahuwah, His word is our light. Precepts so holy, lighting up our night. We tell our children, speak of them true. Write them on our hearts in all that we do. Statutes so just, they shape our soul. Following His paths we're made whole. Daily we ponder, nightly we dream. Yahweh's wisdom like a mighty stream. All praise to Yahuwah, His word is our might. Precepts so holy, lighting up our night. We tell our children, speak of them true. Write them on our hearts in all that we do. In the law we find our freedom. So does power we can't ignore. In His commandments we find peace. In Yahuwah's love we never cease. All praise to Yahuwah, His word is our might. Precepts so holy, lighting up our children. Speak of them true. Write them on our hearts in that we do. All that we
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. It is another Shabbat. My name is Jason.
I'm Caden.
I'm Jaden.
I'm cool.
I'm Eli.
And we are the Yahuwah and the Torah channel. And we can't thank you guys enough for being a part of our little virtual table out here in the middle of the woolly wild jungles. It is always an honor and a privilege to sit amongst all of you Torah keepers out there. And for everybody who is not a Torah keeper, well, this is your invitation to the breath of fresh air. For those who do not know what the Torah is, it is the first 5 books of Scriptures: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. And in those 5 books, we learn everything that we need to live, to operate, to drive ourselves, to drive our families, to eat, to worship. Everything that we need is found in those first 5 books. And when we take these books and we write them on our heart, on our minds, and on our souls, then we end up with the blessings that come from our Creator. And our Creator is a wondrous, amazing Creator who has forethought all of the world that we are in and has provided us and sustained His word throughout the years. And if it was possible for Hasatan to more than corrupt the Scriptures, he would have. But our Creator has given us these Scriptures that we can have today, that if we will read them and if we will use them and show our faith by our works, then we will be qualified people for the kingdom to come. With that, Cade, will you please open us in prayer?
Great Father, thank you for this day. We thank you for bringing this family once again together, united, seeking your Torah, seeking your ways, seeking the truth, seeking your glory, and seeking that we are on the right path and that we are on the right way. And as the feast days come. We ask that they are sanctified, that they are blessed. We ask that your Pesach is a Kadesh day, that your Shabbat today is a Kadesh day, that there's rest for the people, that there's a recharge and a readiness for the next coming week. We thank you for all in His name. Amen.
Okay, Jade, will you please give us the Shema?
Hear, O Yisrael, Yahuwah our Elohim, Yahuwah is one. And you shall love Yahuwah with all your heart, and with all your being, and with all your might. And these words which I am commanding you today shall be in your heart, and you shall impress them upon your children. You shall speak of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be frontlets between your eyes, and you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates.
So we are going to be going over all of these commands here in just a second, and this is one of them. And this particular part of this command, there's actually a lot of commands in here, but the biggest one that you see right before you is that we're told to love our Creator with all of our heart, with all our being, with all of our might. Now, when we live in this religious fake system that's out there, you won't ask anybody in a religious system if they love God with all their heart, mind, and soul. They will absolutely say yes. Of course we do. But then if you ask them, do you love the words that He has spoken? They're like, nah, those are dead. Those are on the cross. Those are old school. We got the new way forward. And then when you try to present them with the laws of our Creator, they will quickly bring up Shaul, Brother Paul. And inside Brother Paul's words are things that are not meant for any of us. They're not meant for today's setting, because we are not an ecclesia, we're not an assembly that wrote Paul a letter, and we're not sitting here expecting a letter back. Now, when we take the words of Shaul out of context and we free ourselves from the laws, the devil is laughing. He's laughing at our ignorance, and he's laughing that he has another soul completely wrapped up. And so it is with this that we will begin, after Miss Nicole greets everybody, to read these precious, beautiful, majestic laws of our Creator.
All right, we have the Judge, we have Candy and Ruby, Joanna, Jean out of this world, Richie James, Jeremy and Callan, Daughter of Abraham, Rick Johnson, Curtis, and I think that's everybody for the moment. So welcome. If I missed anybody, I apologize.
Yeah, and Rick says that sounds so ludicrous, and it does, doesn't it, right? When people will clearly tell you they love their Elohim, but they hate his ways, it doesn't make any sense at all. It doesn't. And so you might as well just say, no, we love the devil and hate God, because we do what the devil says and we neglect what our Elohim says. Okay, so let us get into this. We will be going over these. We will go over them slowly and meticulously. And if anybody in the chat has any kind of questions, any kind of comments, something that doesn't make sense, something you'd like to add, this is where we have a lot of fun in this little tiny assembly, is we get to talk to all of you. And this is our one time a week that we actually get all of you guys live, and we have an opportunity as our family. And we learn a lot from you guys out there. And so let us begin. Be fruitful.
Multiply, replenish the earth, subdue it, have dominion over the fish, fowl, and every living creature. The earth bearing, and every tree is for food. Man and woman should build their own families. Master sin. Every clean moving thing that lives shall be food for you. Do not eat the blood.
Walk before me and be perfect.
Guard Yahuwah's covenant, laws, statutes, and commandments. Every male shall be circumcised at 8 days old. Teach your children the commands and guard the way of Yahuwah.
Remember Yahuwah's name for all generations.
Keep the Passover, Pesach. Keep the Feast of Unleavened Bread, Festival of Matzot. There's one Torah for the stranger and the Hebrew.
Sanctify all firstborn to Yahuwah.
There are no mighty ones before Yahuwah. You shall not make graven images. Do not bring Yahuwah's name to naught.
Keep the Shabbat, the Sabbath day. And you guys can see it's reiterated quite a bit here. And when you get into, our Messiah, Yahushua, there were no J's in Hebrew. Messiah Yahushua very clearly kept the Shabbat. When you go through the Apocrypha and all the books of the Apocrypha, everybody clearly kept the Shabbat. It was just a thing that we do. And for those who have never kept the Sabbath day before, this is a chance at becoming a part of the kingdom people. The kingdom people in the world after this, we're going to be keeping Shabbats. We're going to be keeping the Passover. We're going to be keeping the Feast of Unleavened Bread. We're going to be keeping all of this because this is what the realm of the Shamayim does right now. And so let us continue on. What do we got? I have a question. Torah says to be fruitful. However, there are people who didn't have a child, such as Judith, Queen Esther, Deborah, and Miriam. I am also without a child. Please share your thoughts. Well, I mean, being fruitful doesn't necessarily mean simply having kids, right? Being fruitful can mean a tremendous amount of things. There's a lot of people inside of scriptures that, they are unable to have children, right? When, there's a lot of times also where they were not able to have children and prayer came along and the wombs were opened up. But that isn't the whole thing about being fruitful, right? There's a tremendous amount of things that all of us can do to be fruitful for the kingdom. The first time that we ever stop and we start talking to others about the Torah, or we are out there and we find some person that is broken or defeated or something where we can put our hands into their lives and make their lives better and show the love of the kingdom and show the love of the Torah, that's also being fruitful and being fruitful to what we have.
You need to read Ruby Chambers' comment.
Okay, let me see. The Old Testament God is evil. He is not the New Testament God. The New Testament was against Old Testament God and have to have eyes of discernment.
That's crazy. There's two gods.
There's two gods.
That's crazy.
According to Ruby, there's two gods. Well, Miss Ruby, the Old Testament Elohim is a beautiful, beautiful, loving Elohim, and he very clearly has given us a set of rules and guidelines, and he doesn't change. He has never changed. In fact, he said, if you want to be obedient to my laws, statutes, and commandments, you will be my child. If you don't want to be obedient, then you by default are a child of the devil. And if you are the child of the devil, the children of the devil say that the laws of our Creator have been nailed to the cross. And you wouldn't want to do that. Why would you want to do what the devil wants you to do while opposing what the Creator of the universe says? And if you're still out there, I hope you are, we have commandments that we're going through right now. Every single one of these commandments that we're reading has extreme value. These are all the commandments of the Old Testament Elohim that we have, and it's the same commandments of the New Testament Elohim. They never ever change. And in Matthew 7, it very clearly says that those who are lawless go to hell. And so we all have a choice to make. We can either choose the righteous way forward, the path of righteousness, or we can, by default, go with what the devil has said we should do. And the devil hates the laws as well. So let me catch up here.
We just need to say Shabbat Shalom to the Grand and to Richie, and to Honeymoon Stitch, Brian, sorry.
So how do we multiply? Well, there's a lot of different ways you can multiply. You can adopt a kid. I mean, you guys can completely adopt a child that has no hope, no love, no parents, no anything, and you can love them and treat them as your very own, and they will go forth and they will multiply, right? You raise them up in the Torah, you raise them up in the path of righteousness and have them go forward, right? So there's things even in the certain situations that we can do to continue to be fruitful and to multiply in this fashion. And hopefully that answers that. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. Let us roll into this. Honor your parents. And right there, guys, we have two. Look at this right here. Do not break wedlock. Do not kill, and honor your parents. Now, this is the Old Testament Elohim, right? This is the Old Testament God that Ruby was talking about. So let's say, for instance, these laws are on the cross, right? Honor your parents, do not kill, do not break wedlock. Okay, so if the laws are on the cross, that means we can be an adulterous, family-killing loser, or do not kill, let's go out, let's go murder somebody, right? Why not? The laws are on the cross. But then they'll say, okay, well, do not kill is in Exodus. Well, there's also the same command, the fourth commandment, which is keep the Shabbat, and nobody does that, right? We can't pick and choose what commandments we want. And say, for instance, don't drink blood. Do you want to drink blood? Is that your objective? Those who hate the Elohim of the Old Testament, is that your objective? So these are all great commands, right? Guys, continue on. Honor your parents, do not kill, and do not break wedlock.
Do not steal.
Do not make false accusations against your neighbor.
Do not covet anything of your neighbor's. Do not make an altar from a rock that a tool has touched.
Do not go to the altar by the steps.
If a man steals cattle, he shall restore it 5 times. Who has laws for criminals?
Do not lie with thieves.
Stop right there. The command is do not lie with an animal, right? The laws are on the cross, huh? So now you're going to do something with a beast, right? We can't pick and choose commands, right? Every single command here has extreme value, and you can't pick and choose. You know, that people want the what they believe, and you know, the Christian mind control, the programming, the cult of the Christian church has people thinking that the God of the New Testament is not the same.
So one's the creator and then one's what?
Well, they believe, because they believe in the Trinity, right? They believe that the Father and the Son are the exact same thing, and then the Son came to do away with all the commandments that his dad did, and people want the easy peasy path, and it doesn't exist. When you read the New Testament, it is the exact same set of rules. Read Hebrews 8. It's the same covenant, right? The very first covenant that we had, where our Creator says, if you will keep my laws, statutes, and commandments, we all botched. Our forefathers, we botched this. Hebrews 8 gives us a brand new covenant. And the Christians are like, I want that one. I want the new covenant because the first one was flawed. Well, the very first thing is that new covenant is for the house of Yisrael and the house of Yahudah. It is not for the house of Christian. It is not for the house of Gentiles. It's for nobody. And when you read Hebrews 8, it's all about those who know the Torah, walk the Torah, and everybody knows it, right? So if you want to be a part of the Hebrews 8 people, the Torah is in. Satan is out. Okay, let's continue on. No sacrifices to other Elohim.
Do not oppress the stranger, fatherless, or widow.
Do not charge your brother interest.
If you borrow your neighbor's raiment, return him before sunset. Do not curse the ruler of your people.
Do not eat what is torn of any beast.
No false report. Do not follow a multitude of evil.
Do not judge unrighteously against the poor.
Bring back your enemy's cattle if you find it going astray.
Hold on. What's this? What is? I don't even know what an IVF is. Does anyone know what that is?
It's the in vitro, where it's not a natural birth. It's not a natural.
They put the egg inside you or something?
Yes.
I don't know anything about this. I have zero ideas, so I probably shouldn't be. I don't know if it's bad or not. Do we have any Torah commands that say? I mean, if it's, I don't know. I have no answers for you on that one, daughter of Abraham. I would pray on this. I would seek our Creator, and I know He will take you to an answer and a conclusion. And don't forget fasting. Fasting has definitely changed things. And so, if I was taking another woman's egg and implanting it, do we know, is this anything, boys? What do we know about anything of this sort in Torah? Any sort of thing? I mean, is there anything against it?
I don't know. I mean, I think the closest thing we have is where Sarah was trying to have Hagar, bear over her knees and be like, each was going to be kind of her child because she couldn't have children, but...
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
Same thing with the daughters Laban, Rachel and Leah. They were like having their, whatever, their maids help them.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, right off the gate, this is probably not the right answer, but I don't know if I see any Torah commands being broken by harvesting the egg. I mean, it's a strange question, very strange question, very. I don't know. I can't see any Torah commands that are being broken. I mean,
My only thing is it's not your own DNA, though.
It's not your own DNA, but where's that break Torah?
I don't know. I don't think it
I mean,
does.
I don't see. I don't know how any of that would break Torah. Okay, sorry guys. I don't know. Let's continue on. But I love the questions. I love the stuff that completely owns me. No false reports. Do not follow the multitude of evil. Next, gentlemen. Anyone?
I'm lost.
Do not judge unrighteously against the poor.
Bring back your enemy's cattle if you find it going astray. Help the animals of your enemy.
Stay away from rumors and gossipers.
Take no bribes. Do not oppress a stranger. Love the stranger.
Give your land rest in the 7th year.
Do not mention any pagan names. Keep the feast of Yahuwah.
Do not kill your goat in his mother's milk.
Obey the messenger Yahuwah sent before you. Do not bow down to other Elohim.
Serve Yahuwah.
Make no covenant with Elohim or outside of the land. Do not make use of anointing oil on a normal person. Do not make use of perfume on a normal person.
Do not eat the fat.
Do what you say you're going to do. Return what is your neighbor's.
Obey Yahuwah's dietary laws.
Keep the Day of Atonement, Yom HaKippurim. Whoa, bro.
You went 2 down. Women's time of separation.
And then obey Yahuwah's hygiene laws. Do not covet nakedness of your family. Do not take your woman's sister for wife.
Do not lie with a woman in her uncleanness.
You shall not sacrifice your children to Moloch. Do not be a sodomite.
Be Kodesh, holy.
Do not reap the corn of your field, or you shall not glean your vineyard. Do not deal falsely or defraud your neighbor.
Do not lie or be a liar.
Pay your workers for the day's wage they are due. Do not harm the disabled.
Do not injure your neighbor.
Do not hate your brother. Rebuke your neighbor for his sin.
Love your neighbor as yourself.
Do not diverse your cattle. Do not mingle your seed.
Do not mingle linen and wool.
Do not lie with a taken woman. Do not eat the fruit of the trees for 3 years.
Do not practice sorcery.
Do not round your beard or the corners of your head. Do not cut yourself for the dead.
Do not get tattoos.
Do not prostitute your daughter. Do not defile your temple.
Do not consult the medium.
And that command right there, do not defile your temple. That might actually go to the whole question of the eggs and the IV, whatever the IBS or IVR, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. That could possibly be one of these things right here that you are absolutely defiling your temple. One of the things that, back in these days that they didn't have back then that we have now is these little crazy people in their white coats that are, that do the kind of stuff that they have done. I'm sure if this was back in the days that we would have better instructions, but if we're trying to find commands that we may be violating by doing such a thing, that might be one of them. And so those are things to consider. But I would also definitely fast on this, and I would always pray. And we also know that wombs have been opened up. There's many occasions where this has happened throughout scriptures. And so if it is the will of Yah, then he's going to make it happen if you're praying and seeking his counsel.
She has another question. Can you explain the mixing of fabrics?
Yeah. So the mixing of fabrics is much easier than people let on. So you have 2 different kinds of fabrics that are they resonate at a frequency that is, when you mix them, it is a disharmonic frequency. So if you take linen and if you take wool and you mix them up into the same, say you make a sweater out of linen and wool, and you put that directly on your skin, it is very, very unhealthy for the human beings. Either or, wool by itself, linen by itself are amazing. And there's something about both of these inventions by our Creator that is meant for humanity. But He knows that when you mix these, that whatever frequency comes off of this is not healthy for human beings. Which is why, again, the Torah is an amazing thing. Because we have stuff like this. We could all be like sitting here buzzing all around, all jacked up, sick all the time because we've taken linen and wool and mixed it together. And so that is the answer for mixing wool. Okay, let's continue on. There's also a lady the other day that gave birth at 66 years old that I saw in the news as well, daughter of Abraham. Okay, next, do not consult the medium.
Respect your elders.
Have correct weights and measures. Do not walk in the manners of the nations.
He that feasts first fruits.
So, going back to the egg thing, that could very well, as I didn't have the answers for this, and I think as we're going through, the answers are coming before us. Walking in the manners of the nations would probably be having the doctors mess around and implant eggs and things of this nature, right? Because this is not something that we find in Torah. It's not that can be done without the crazy people in the white coats. And so, as we go through this, I'm leaning more out of that we probably shouldn't do something to this, and we should probably just keep everything in prayer and let the will of Yah be done. And sometimes the will of Yah, some people won't be able to produce. I mean, that's just the way it is. And there's always a reason for it, and we won't know until long after we're long gone. Okay, did we keep the feast of first fruits? Shavuot, Omer Count, and Pentecost.
Keep the feast of trumpets, Yom Torah. Keep the feast of Sukkot, Shemini Ateret.
If you blaspheme the name of Yahuwah, you shall be put to death.
If you kill any of your animals, you must give another. Repay injury for injury.
Honor the Yobel, Jubilee year.
Confess sins to Yahuwah and repay who you have trespassed against. The law of being a Nazir.
Wear zizit on the four corners of your garments.
The law is if whoever touches a corpse. Follow Yahuwah's law of inheritance.
Torah, keeping your oath to Yahuwah.
Do not add or take away from the word.
Huge thing. Don't add or take away, guys. This is so important. Many of us have fallen into this trap. And in any religion, we're taking and we're at, it doesn't matter what religion it is, there's not a single religion you can ever show me that does not add and does not take away from the word. And so, again, Torah keeping is not a religion. It is a way of life. It's not something that we just believe and we think that we do it. We believe and we act upon our belief based upon the words of our Creator, right? And that's the walk that we're supposed to walk. Okay, continuing on. Guard your soul. Another very, very important thing.
Learn to fear Yahuwah. You shall love Yahuwah with all your heart. Bind the laws upon your hand and the frontlets between your eyes.
Write the laws on your doorposts.
Do not tempt Yahuwah. Do what is right and good in the sight of Yahuwah.
Do not be afraid of your enemies.
Remember Yahuwah. Circumcise your heart.
Cleave to Yahuwah.
Swear by his name.
Slow down, speedies.
Destroy graven images. Do not make an idol of Yahuwah, as the pagans do to their Elohim.
Rejoice in all Yahuwah is blessed with.
Do not do what is right in your own eyes. Do not hearken to the words of the false prophets.
Do not make any baldness between your eyes for the dead.
You shall not eat any abominable thing. You shall give to a stranger of clean food that dies of itself, but you shall not eat of it.
Give tithe your increase of seed year by year.
Laws of the end of the 7-year release. Do not borrow from the nations.
Do not harden your heart nor shake your hand from the poor.
Guard month 1 of Yahuwah's calendar. 3 times a year all males shall appear before Yahuwah.
You shall make judges and officers in all your gates.
Do not plant Asherah poles near the altar. There must be 2 or 3 witnesses.
Hearken unto the Nabbi Yahuwah has chosen.
Prophet test of Deuteronomy. Do not remove your neighbor's property line.
How to deal with a false witness among Torah keepers.
First child get double portions. If your brother's cattle or clothes are lost and you find them, you must return them.
A woman shall not wear what pertains to a man, nor a man wear what pertains to a woman.
If you find a bird's nest with the mother and the babies, or eggs, take the babies, but not the mother.
If you build a new house with a flat roof that is able to be lived on, you must put a railing around it.
Do not be a prostitute. Do not use dirty money.
Torah of divorce.
Do not take a person's millstone for a pledge. If you lend to your brother, do not enter his house to get payment. He must bring it to you. Return his clothing before sunset, if that was his pledge. Do not oppress a hired servant that is poor and needy.
Every man shall be put to death for his own sin.
Do not go back for forgotten sheep in the field, leave for the stranger, fatherless, and widow. Do not muzzle your ox when he treads out grain.
If your brother dies and has no child, you shall take his wife and name the firstborn after your brother.
At the end of 7 years, you are to read the Torah at the Feast of Sukkot.
Okay.
How do we give double portions now? And what about the first child? Or what about if the first child were outside of
Yeah, so
El's will?
here's the reason that we had this command. This command was one of these family building commands. It was something of the sort that the whole point of the firstborn back in the day, and it should be in this day as well, is that the firstborn is going to take care of the rest of the family once mom and dad are dead and gone, or they don't have the ability to take care of the rest of the family. Getting double portions means that the oldest is in Torah and understands, and I don't necessarily think they have to be in Torah, but it would have to be something where they understood that they have to take care of the rest of the family. So it wasn't just because you were firstborn you got double portions. It was that you are now responsible for the entire family, and you would use that double portion to survive and to keep everybody else around you alive. And so that would be the whole point. So if people are outside of Torah, then I mean, a lot of this wouldn't make any, wouldn't make any sense. So, all right, let's continue on right here. Not revealed, natural. That it was not natural. 70 creatures. Okay, all right, let's roll. So here we are into the book of Numbers. Jade, will you please give us a breakdown of where we are at, please?
We're running around the desert. We have 40. They got banned for 40 years for complaining and being complainers and doing what they always do and being very stiff-necked. Yahuwah told Moshe to send people into the land, spot the land. Moshe chose one from each tribe, a leader of each tribe. They went there, they looked at the land, they said it was great, everything, the land is beautiful, it has abundance of fruits, honey, milk, but the giants live there. And they got scared of the giants. They came back and gave the report and scared everyone, scared the whole entire camp. And so now Caleb and Joshua told people we can take them, we'll be fine, there's no big deal. And they still freaked out, so they got banished for 40 years for being stiff-necked people, and then Yahuwah also had people banned.
Yeah. Okay. You're good? You done?
Yeah.
Okay. I gotta run one more thing over and do it very, I guess, delicately as we can for daughter of Abraham in that entire what is it? IVF?
Yeah.
If it's IVF, after the events of 2019 and 2020. I don't think that you would ever want to spawn a child because you have no idea where or what is really in that embryo anymore at that point. The egg. It's not an embryo till the thing, but the egg, right? Like you could very much take on something that isn't natural. And so I will leave it at that. And for those with eyes to see and ears to hear, I hope that makes some sense. So let's continue on. Numbers 15. This is a great chapter too, by the way.
Another thing from last week. After they got banished, they decided they were going to go fight the giants by themselves. So they went to a certain area and they got smothered. They died. A lot of people died trying to fight the people of the land. Like, oh, we'll take the land that you guys are fighting for us. And I was like, don't do it. You guys have 40 years before I'm going to let you in there. And they went and did it.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. 15:1. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to the children of Yisrael, and say to them, When you have come into the land of your dwellings, which I am giving you, and you make an offering by fire to Yahuwah, a burnt offering, or a slaughtering, to accomplish a vow, or as a voluntary offering, or in your appointed times, to make a sweet fragrance to Yahuwah from the herd of the flock, then he who brings near his offering to Yahuwah shall bring near a grain offering of 1/10 of fine flour mixed with 1/4 of a hin of oil, and 1/4 of a hin of wine as a drink offering you prepare with the burnt offering or the slaughtering for each lamb. Or for a ram you prepare as a grain offering 2/10 parts of fine flour mixed with 1/3 of a hin of oil. And as a drink offering you bring 1/3 of a hin of wine as a sweet fragrance to Yahuwah. And when you prepare a young bull as a burnt offering, or as a slaughtering to accomplish a vow, or as a peace offering to Yahuwah, then shall be brought with the young bull a grain offering of 3/10 parts of fine flour mixed with half a hin of oil. And bring as the drink offering half a hin of wine as an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to Yahuwah. This is what is done for each young bull, for each ram, or for each lamb or young goat. According to the number that you prepare, so you do for each one according to their number. Let all who are native do so with them in bringing near an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to Yahuwah. And when a stranger sojourns with you, or whoever is among you throughout your generations, and would make an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to Yahuwah, as you do, so he does.
So it didn't matter if they were behind or not, if they were not part of the people, if they were not in like the original bloodline, if they were not part of that, they said, you are going to make a sacrifice too. If you want to make a sacrifice, you can make a sacrifice too.
Yep. Where are we at, guys? Because I just flipped around. 15?
We are on 15. You are on 15
15,
now. Yeah,
right?
15.
Okay. One law is for you of the assembly and for the stranger who sojourns with you. A law forever throughout your generations, as you are, so is the stranger before Yahuwah. So this
Forever.
right, what's that?
Forever.
Forever, yeah. And this is a point, right? This is, it doesn't matter where we came from. It doesn't matter the religion that we came out of, the lands we came out of, the captivity that we come out of. When our eyes are opened and we learn the Torah and we see the Torah, that's our Torah, right? We want it to become not a stranger. We want to become a native to our Creator. And we all start as strangers. We all start as foreigners. We all start as those who don't know anything about it. And as we study the Torah, as we learn the Torah, that is how we become native to our Creator. There's one Torah, 16. One Torah and one right ruling is for you and for the stranger who sojourns with you. This right here destroys Christianity. It destroys all of these fake religions, all of this stuff. We have one Torah, and it's the right ruling for us, and it's the right ruling for anybody that wants to come and hang in the cool kids club, which is the Kingdom Kids. And so if you are part of the Kingdom Kids cool club, you have a Torah. It's the same Torah. We don't have to wonder if because we came from somewhere that we have a different set of rules. It's all the exact same rules. And if we abide by these rules, then we will be allowed into the kingdom to come. 17. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, speak to the children of Israel and say to them, when I bring you into the land to which I bring you, then it shall be, when you eat of the bread of the land, that you present a contribution to Yahuwah. Present a cake of the first of your dough as a contribution of the threshing floor. You present it. Of the first of your dough you are to give to Yahuwah, a contribution throughout your generations. And when you sin by mistake and do not do all the commands which Yahuwah has spoken to Moshe, and all that Yahuwah has commanded you by the hand of Moshe from the day Yahuwah gave command and onward throughout your generations, then it shall be, if it is done by mistake without the knowledge of the congregation, that all the congregation shall prepare one young bull as a burnt offering, as a sweet fragrance to Yahuwah, with his grain offering and his drink offering according to the right ruling, and one male goat as a sin offering. Then the Kohanim shall make atonement for all the congregation of the children of Israel, and it shall be forgiven them. For it was by mistake, and they shall bring their offering, an offering made by fire to Yahuwah, and their sin offering before Yahuwah for their mistake. Now I'd like to point out that we have a qualified priest in our Messiah that doesn't have to go through the rigmarole of atoning for themselves before they can atone for us. And this is one of the qualifications that we had when our Messiah walked the Torah perfectly, when he came and became the Torah made flesh, when he did what his dad wanted him to do exactly as his dad wanted him to do, he became qualified. And it was by his walk that that qualification came to be our Melchizedek priest. We have a real Kohanan. We have the Kohanan, the son of the Most High. And it's an amazing thing because we finally have somebody qualified. Because these guys back in the day, if they did atonement for the people and they were not atoned for them by themselves, our Creator would have killed them. Many, many, many mistakes they could have made. And we won't have those same mistakes with our Messiah. He'll be able to give us the straight truth, the straight action on all of this. Okay. Now, continuing on, 26. And it shall be forgiven all the children, all the congregation of the children of Israel, and the stranger who sojourns in their midst, because all the people did it by mistake. And if a being sins by mistake, then he shall bring a female goat, a year old, as a sin offering. Hold on just a second, guys. Sorry. Got distracted here. 28. And the Kohanan shall make atonement for the being who strays by mistake. Then he sins by mistake before Yahuwah to make atonement for him, and it shall be forgiven him. For him who makes a mistake, there is one Torah, both for him who is native among the children of Israel, and for the stranger who sojourns in their midst. This is the same stuff, right? This is a great chapter because in this chapter, it tells us over and over and over that there's only one Torah. There's only one set of regulations. There's only one set of rules that make a difference at all, and it's the rules of our Creator. And so, continuing on into this, where are we at, I guess, 30?
30, yeah.
But the being who acts defiantly, whether he is native or a stranger, he reviles Yahuwah, and that being shall be cut off among his people. Now, when you look at Christianity, that is a religion of people reviling our Creator. They say one thing, but their hearts are far from it. Okay, 31. Because he has despised the word of Yahuwah and has broken his command, that being shall certainly be cut off. His wickedness is upon him. And this is a a bad thing, because everybody that we know that is in this religious system, when they take their very last breath, it's game over. There's no more chance of repentance. There's no more understanding. There's no more trying to make it through these testing grounds being tested properly. We're done. And so my mom, unfortunately, this is her. We were talking about the will and her dying yesterday, and it was a dramatic thing, because, after I got done talking to her, I realized that she's, and all I could do was simply pray that somehow, a few moments of life alive, that there's just some way I can get through to her head. But the religion and the religious system is so strong in people's minds that once you're programmed, it is so hard to get out of it. Continuing on, 32. And while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man gathering sticks on the Shabbat day. And those who found him gathering sticks brought him to Moshe and to Aaron and to all the congregation. And they put him under guard, because it had not been declared what should be done to him. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, the man shall certainly be put to death. All the congregation stoning him with stones outside the camp. And all the congregation brought him outside the camp and stoned him with stones, as Yahuwah commanded Moshe, and he died. This is a big thing, right? This is one of these things that we have rules and regulations for Shabbat. We're not supposed to kindle fire. We're not supposed to go outside of our working. There's just not supposed to be any kind of work on that. And you had a man who was willing to go out, and if you are part of Yisrael, you know that you don't work on the Shabbat. And so as this guy was picking up sticks by his own volition, knowing that it shouldn't be done, this is what they did. And this is why the Torah is a very, very fair thing, because we know the crime, and so they did the time. And I wish we all lived under the Torah, because I wouldn't be writing people on death row every single day and trying to support these guys that have been bound un-Torah based. And it would have been much better for all these guys to basically get rocks chucked at their head and be done, instead of spending 40 years in solitary confinement in crazy conditions. And the only thing that I can see that being for as long as they are in solitary confinement, that at some level there might be some person like myself who comes along and tells them all about the scriptures, because inside of these prison systems, they have the same faith-based garbage that everybody has out there. They got all these Christians in there that are saving all of these men that are already damned by their own actions. So here we are. Don't disobey Yah's commands, right? Or we get punished like that. Okay, 37. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, speak to the children of Yisrael, and you shall say to them to make tzitzits on the corners of their garments throughout their generations, and to put a blue cord in the tzitzits of the corners. A lot of people, you have the entire religion of the Judaisms. I call them Zeus now. I don't even say the other J word. So you have Judaism, and inside of Judaism, they have straight white seats. And you ask any one of the zoos, and they will tell you that we don't have the colors for the string, and because we don't have the color for the string, we're going to disobey the commands of our Creator. And so that's how you can identify Torah keepers versus the zoos, is that zoos will always have white in all of the corners of their stuff. Okay, let me get into chat. It looks like the chat died on the screen here, so it's gone. But let me.
Well, the Grand said maybe he was going to sell the sticks too.
Yeah, maybe he's going to sell the sticks, or maybe he was. There was obviously this guy. It wasn't just some random thing where he accidentally went out and put up sticks. There was some reason behind this, and I'm sure they all got to the bottom of it before they chucked the rocks at the guy. But the Torah is fair. It is always fair, and I would much rather live under the Torah than the laws of man. Laws of man are all completely jacked up.
All right. And Joanna wants to know, Brother Jason, when you mentioned ecclesia and letters of Paul, I've been meaning to ask, why are some Torah observants saying if we are part of an ecclesia, then we are in violation?
I have never heard that. As far as when you mention ecclesia and letters of Paul, the word ecclesia is where they ended up with the word church, circe, where it's been modernized, paganized, and taken out of there. as far as what the what an ecclesia is, it's a small meeting group. And back in the days, if you went to an ecclesia, you're going to go to a house and there's going to be like 5 or 6 people in it, right? Every little house had these little tiny ecclesias, and you would meet up with them. As far as those of Torah observance saying we are part of the ecclesia, then we are in violation. I'm not sure what they're talking about or what ecclesia. I mean, I'm sure there's congregations of Satanists. I mean, you probably wouldn't want to be in a congregation of people that are, doing the devil's work. But as far as meeting up with people, I mean, that's the whole point. That's what we're doing right here. We have a small little meeting group. There's like 25 of us that all sit here and we just chit chat and we talk amongst that. So I don't know. I've never heard that before, so I'm not sure. Ecclesia, congregation, but they took the word ecclesia and made church out of it. So everybody's out there building these giant things and ripping everybody off for 10% of their money. So,
Daughter of Abraham wants to know, did El take away Jonah's free will?
He didn't take away his free will, but he got him to do what he was supposed to do. I mean, at the end of the day, Jonah still had free will, right? Jonah still could have walked. He could have got spit up on the shore, and he could have gotten on a boat and taken off again and seen what the hand of Yah did. We don't know the entire walk of Jonah's. In fact, that book is very, 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 very small. We're missing, I think, probably 40 pages of it somewhere out there, because all we get is a little itty bitty tiny story of it seems the end of it, right? We don't know where Jonah came from. We don't know his walk. We don't know the oath that Jonah had taken. Maybe he made an oath to Yah that he was going to be serving him, and at some point he's like, nah, I'm not going to do that. And Yah's like, yeah, you are. And so Jonah still had free will. He didn't have to do it. Obviously, it was a shakeup. You would probably not want to mess with your Elohim and do not tempt him. But we don't know the rest of the story. And so I don't think he took away free will. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think so, though. We can still do this stuff. If we aren't part of an assembly, ecclesia, church, if we are part of the ecclesia, then we are in violation. All right, I'm trying to understand that. If we aren't part of an assembly, ecclesia, church, I don't see any. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with being a part of a little group of believers, right? I mean, if you're getting in your car on a Shabbat and you're driving 40 miles and you're hanging out with a whole bunch of, pagans or something, I don't think that's a good idea. But I mean, if you're walking to your neighbor's house and you guys all praise Yah, it's a day of Shabbat. That's what this is all about. Is we're looking for like-minded people who are truly like-minded, and there's just not a lot of people out there. And I talk to dudes all the time, especially a dude who got out of prison, and he had a pretty tight Torah group in prison, and it was in Texas, and they do okay in the Torah-based setup there. But he got out, and he keeps writing me, and he's like, yeah, I went to this thing, and it's like they say certain things that are not in the Torah. They have a guy that makes their food kosher, and everything they do, they have that guy. And I'm like, well, they're mixing in Judaism, and when they mix in Judaism, then you get very, very confused. And so Yonah's a top favorite for me too. That's a great book. It's a really good book, and it's just when we actually wrote the scriptures, but when we retranslated and when we put everything together, that was definitely a fascinating book. It's definitely missing the beginning of it. I mean, we don't know how old Yonah was. We don't know what other places he had been prophesied. We don't know how close he was to Yah. Obviously, he was close enough to Yah that it was a personal thing. When a big fish swallows you up and spits you out on the shore, right? You've done something, right? And none of us are forced into stuff, but there's things where our Creator may make us do what we have already had an oath to, and Nineveh was saved because of that. It was a big deal. It ended with being angry. It did end up with him being angry, but he wanted some action, right? He wanted to see this little city get fired up. And they repented, and so that made him angry, and Yah dealt with him as well. Very short book. All right, let's continue on. 40, right?
39, I think. 39.
Okay, and it shall be to you for a tzitzit, and you shall see it, and shall remember all the commands of Yahuwah, and shall do them, and not search after your own heart and your own eyes, after which you went whoring, so that you remember and shall do all my commands, and be Kodesh under your Elohim. I am Yahuwah your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim to be your Elohim. I am Yahuwah your Elohim. Okay, let's talk about the tzitzits, right? Right out of the gate, this is a very, very important thing. And for those of us out there, this is for the men and women, right? Speak to the children of Yisrael. This is everybody. If you are male, if you are female, and I've heard the zoos, and they'll go, the zoos are like, oh, only the males can have this. It doesn't say just the males. It says speak to the children of Yisrael. And tzitzits are a very fashionable thing on men and women. They are super, super cool, and you will have miraculous encounters. You will have appointed encounters of people that will come and ask you. And the first thing they'll ask you is, are you a zoo? And you would say, no, I'm not a zoo, but I'm a Torah keeper. I love the laws, statutes, and commandments of our Creator. And as we wear them, we are wearing them so that we remember all of the commands of Yahuwah, right? You're not walking out there in the public or anywhere that you don't have your tzitzits on. And so for men and for women, it is a very, very important thing that we use this command and we get into covenant. And this is all part of the covenant process. So continuing on. Let's roll into this. We're heading into Matthew right now. Mark, sorry.
So the daughter of Abraham says, was Sarah punished with a demon in the book of Tobit because her father violated Leviticus by trying to marry her off to other men instead of Tobit?
I don't know about that. Sarah punished with a demon. I mean, she was tested with the demon, right? I mean, her life was completely whacked, but for whatever reason, it wasn't Yah's will, and so that entire story. There's a lot of stuff we get from the story of Tobit, and a lot. I don't think the guy was doing anything wrong. I don't think her dad would have known that there was her Prince Charming on his way, and he was just trying to do what the daughters of the fathers and the daughters of Israel do, which is to marry their kids off. I don't see that they were doing anything wrong other than somehow they had gotten this creepy, unclean spirit that was killing off all the guys. And so, and in fact, that creepy thing is also in the Testament of Solomon, which is yet another creepy book that we actually published, and we actually took it off Amazon because we felt uncomfortable with the demon names inside of it and actually saying the demon names. And we had it up for a little bit. A couple of you guys got it. I don't know who got it, but it is absolutely really limited edition. Like, it just doesn't exist anymore. Okay, let's get into Mark 14. Kate, let us break us into the book of Mark.
So we had Yehoshua. We're getting to the end of his story in this book, and he's been teaching people. He's been giving prophecies. He's been doing amazing things for the people all the way up to this point. And he's gained a pretty big following at this point, and he's got his 12 with him, and they're trying to celebrate the Pesach. They rode in on a donkey, which has never been ridden before, and that's something that never happened. That's something you get to train. Yehoshua just was able to tame the thing and ride on it, and was able to obey Yehoshua with no issues, which is a big miracle that nobody's ever seen before. And the Pharisees are plotting their way to get Yehoshua out of here, to get him away from their prophets, because they are taking away whatever money they make. Yehoshua is taking away that following, and he's showing them the right path.
Yeah, and I'm going to take us back to Joanna. She says, I was talking to my daughter. I said, today is Sabbath. We were going to cease from everything. And she said, well, I know Christians that are blessed. They keep getting blessed. And, that's funny that you mentioned this, because I mentioned this like a week or two ago, and I've been talking to people about it. And I believe from my experience in life that those who are Christians are completely blessed by the hand of the devil. Like, he will absolutely give them financials. He will make them have their best life now. Everybody, I've just known a tremendous amount of very wealthy Christians, very wealthy Mormons, very wealthy Catholics. It seems like money flows very freely to those who are not Torah observant. And that is good. We don't want the mammon of this world. We want the blessings of the kingdom to come. We want our credit line to be established in the Shamayim, in the kingdom to come. We don't care about being rich or any of this stuff out there. So the thing about the riches is when Satan will bless the hands of the Christians that have it, the Christians aren't seeking our Creator, right? They're very content. They're like, look, I'm being blessed. I can eat my pork. I can do what I want. I can worship when I want. And look, I'm just very much being blessed. They don't realize that it is a blessing of Satan, that he's keeping them in the exact same zone, same zombie state, that they can't get their head out of it. And he's I mean, it's cheap, right? The devil controls the world. He controls all of this, the finances and all the people and all this stuff. The devil's been around a very, very long time, and he's very, very crafty. And so when you make people comforted, when you're rich, we know from the words of our Messiah that it's hard to inherit the Shamayim, because the thing about money is we try to get more of it, and we can't stop getting more of it. And it's just like, once you get that bug of loading your bank account, that is what it's about. But guys, these lands that we're on and this times that we're having, it's all limited. It is very much limited. 120 years is what we've been given to have a testing done. We have to figure out what the path of righteousness is in these 120 years that we've been given, or else eternity is going to suck. It's not going to be a good place, and it doesn't sound like it ever has an end. There's no end credits. There's no 2-hour watching stuck in a horrible place. You're there, and whatever it is, whether it's you're tortured, or whether you're just sitting outside of the presence of our Creator, and he will have been rejected by him and by his Son, that's going to be a damning thing. That's going to be something that's a horrible, horrible thing. And so right now we need to choose our Creator and choose his ways. So hopefully we get this. Did I miss anything? Okay, here we go. All right, let's roll. Mark 14:1. Now the Pesach and Matzah was after 2 days, and the chief Kohen and the scribes were seeking how to take him through treachery and put him to death. Now we're talking about, obviously, Messiah Yahushua, right? We're talking about the people, of the Pharisaical lands that are, they're not Torah keepers, right? They keep the zoos, and again, I'm never ever saying the J word on this again, because every time I do, I'm always in danger. So the zoos have a different set of guidelines, right? You don't just have the Torah. You break Deuteronomy 4:2, because the zoos have about 200 other books. Inside of that, you have things called the Kabbalah, the Zohar. You have Babylonian mysticism. You have all of this kind of stuff. And when our Messiah came and was fighting the religious sect of the zoos, he was fighting these people that were not keeping Torah. Like, these people were not the people of our Creator. Okay, now let's continue on. And they said, not at the festival, lest there shall be an uproar of the people. And while he was in Bet Aniah, in the house of Shimon the leper, and sitting at the table, a woman came having an alabaster flask of perfume, genuine nard, very costly. And breaking the flask, she poured it on his head. But there were some who were much displeased among themselves, and said, why was this perfume wasted? For it could have been sold for more than 300 pieces of silver and given to the poor. And they were scolding her. Now, we know from other texts, and we know from reading the rest of this, a lot of it had to do with the money guy, Judas Iscariot, right? He was the guy that was holding on to all this money, and he was the guy that was kind of fleecing the money bag that all of these guys had. So when they saw, or he specifically probably was the leader of this entire thing, then he was like, hey, we could have had 300 pieces of silver for this. What in the world are you doing? But Yahushua said, leave her alone. Why do you trouble her? She has done a good work for me. For you have the poor with you always, and whenever you want, you are able to do good to them. But you do not always have me. What she had, she used. She took it beforehand to anoint my body for the burial. Truly I say to you, wherever this good news is proclaimed in all the world, what this woman did shall also be spoken of to her remembrance. And here we are. We are actually talking about this lady that did this. And we know from other texts that this was a big incident. This was a big time. And this woman was an amazing woman that did this. Okay. Please explain the Testament of Solomon, because I never heard about this book. All right, just jump into it real quick. Testament of Solomon, from daughter of Abraham, because I know the chat, you guys can't see it on the screen. So before this ends, please explain the Testament of Solomon, because I never heard about this book. Testament of Solomon is just yet another piece of the Apocrypha. Solomon, inside of it, he decides that he's going to start controlling the jinn. And the jinn are essentially the fallen, the sons and daughters of the Watchers, the demons that are basically haunting all of us, that have haunted us since the days of the Watchers. And he knew them by name. And he got this little powerful ring, and he used this little powerful ring. He used a pentagram, and he started capturing demons. And he started using these demons, and they started building the temple. And so he had demons that were doing enormous amounts of work, excavator demons, lifting demons, all of these things. And he became the greatest warlock that we've ever heard of, right? He mastered Aleister Crowley by a kabillion times. Aleister Crowley would have wished he could have done anything that Solomon had done in comparison, because he went through it, and there were years and years and years that he had these demons. But towards the end, he had one of these wives, and she convinced him to sacrifice and to one of her gods. And inside of his hands, he crushed, it was live locusts in his hands as a sacrifice. And the second that he did that, the power of the control of the jinn, it all dropped. And these things turned against him. And at the end, he was like, oh man, I've really botched this thing. I've really jacked this up. But the reason that we pulled it off the market is because it went through and it named every single one of these demons. And one of the demons' names was the same one that was in the book of Tobit. And so when we started comparing it and finding various demon names throughout scriptures and that they were legitimate names, we decided it was probably best not to be mentioning these demon names. And one of the guys in prison that I talked to, his name is Barry Chappell. He's a great brother of mine, a great friend. He used to be a warlock guy. He used to cut himself and use and he would conjure demons. He would basically talk to the demons, do all this kind of stuff. And when I was telling him about the book of Solomon, he's like, ooh, yeah. He's like, you don't even want to mention these names, because if you do, they'll come after you. And I'm like, huh, all right, pull that thing off Amazon. It's over. And so so that's it. That's the story of this. So I think these demons also made the pyramids. Yeah, well, I mean, here's the thing about the pyramids, right? The things, the unexplainable things we know from the book of Enoch, we had the fallen angels that mated with the humans. The very first generation of these things were the Nephilim. Then the Nephilim interbred, and they created the Nephilim, right? And so you have the next set of giants, and these things are huge. And then the Nephilim had the next generation, and they were called the Eliud. And these three different generations got bigger and bigger and bigger. And so we're talking potentially about giants that were, I don't know, 100 feet tall. I don't know how tall these were, but they were big enough that these things would have been able to build things like the pyramids, take care of stuff like this, right? Nobody can figure out how the pyramids were built. To this day, they couldn't reproduce them in the same way they were produced. They would have to have mass machineries in many, many years. So there was obviously larger things that were able to do, what we would probably think of as like magical things. Let's continue on. Okay, 10. And Yehuda from Kerioth, one of the 12, went to the chief Kohanim to deliver him up to them. And when they heard it, they were glad and promised to give him silver. And he was seeking how to deliver him up conveniently. And on the first day of Matzah, when they were slaughtering the Pesach, his Talmidim said to him, where do you want us to go and prepare for you to eat the Pesach? And he sent out 2 of his Talmidim and said to them, go into the city, and there a man bearing a jar of water shall meet you. Follow him. And wherever he enters, say to the master of the house, the teacher says, where's the guest room in which I am to eat the Pesach with my Talmidim? And he shall show you a large upper room furnished, ready, prepare for us there. And his Talmidim went out and came into the city and found it as he said to them. And they prepared the Pesach. And evening having come, he came with the 12, and they sat and ate. Yahushua said, truly, I say to you, one of you who is eating with me shall deliver me up. And they began to be grieved and to say to him, one by one, is it I? And another, is it I? And he answering said to them, it is one of the 12, he who is dipping with me in the dish. The son, the Ben of Adam, is indeed going, as it has been written of him. But woe to that man by whom the Ben of Adam is delivered up. It would have been good for that man if he had not been born. And as they were eating, Yahushua took bread, having barak, broke it, and gave it to them and said, "Take, eat, this is my body." And taking the cup, giving thanks, he gave it to them, and they all drank from it. And he said to them, "This is my blood, that of the renewed covenant, which is shed for many. Truly I say to you, I shall certainly no more drink of the fruit of the vine till that day when I drink it anew in the reign of the Elohim." Now, these particular verses, there's been a lot of people over the years that have struggled with this. No Torah commands, right? We know we don't drink blood. We anything. People will go, "Listen, this is what you say the Son of God is saying, is that this is my blood, that of the renewed covenant." People do not get the entire setup, right? We have to understand from the days of the Levitical priesthood and the sacrifices and the bloodshed that had to be done so that our Creator would even have the stomach to hang out with us, a dirty people like we are. That is the system that he invented. That is the system that he had. That was the bloodshed. And our Messiah is becoming this perfect lamb. He is becoming this ultimate sacrifice. He's becoming that which we needed from the Levitical priesthood, including the Levitical priest, which he is, which our Messiah is. Continuing on. It's 25, right?
Yeah, I think so.
20, or 20, I think it's 26.
26.
And having sung a song, they went out to the Mount of Olives. And Yahushua said to them, "All of you shall stumble in me this night, for it has been written, I shall strike the shepherd, and the sheep shall be scattered. But after I am raised, I shall go before you to Galilee." And Kepha said to him, "Even if all shall stumble, yet not I." And Yahushua said to him, "Truly I say to you that today, this night, before the cock shall crow twice, you shall deny me 3 times. But he spoke more strongly, "If I have to die with you, I shall not deny you." And they all said the same. And they came to the place called Gath Shaman. And he said to his talmidim, "Sit here while I pray." And he took with him Kepha and Yaakov and Yochanan. And he began to be greatly alarmed and to be deeply distressed. And he said to them, "My being is exceedingly grave, even to death. Stay here and watch." And he went on a little and fell on the ground and was praying that if it were possible, the hour might pass from him. And he said, "Abba, Father, all is possible for you. Make this cup pass from me, yet not what I desire, but what you." Okay, guys, every single place in Scriptures is a Trinity breaking setup, right? You don't have to go very far to break the Trinity. This verse, these verses right here, this is crazy, right? People that believe the Father and the Son and can read this right here, it doesn't make any sense. Abba, Father, all is possible for you. Now, for those of us in the English language, there's certain words that we have that identify us. One is I, one is we, one is they, one is you, and all of these things identify a person. Now, we don't say you when you're talking about I. You don't say I when you're talking about somebody else. That's just not how it is. And so our Messiah very clearly differentiates himself between the Father and the Son right here, because not only is he saying it's not what I desire, but what you desire, but he's also begging his Father to not make him go through this test. He knows what's coming on. He knows the torture and the evil that's about to come before him, and he doesn't want it. Nobody's going to want this, right? There's not a single person I know on death row that is happy to be on death row. Every single one of my brothers and sisters that we talk to on death row, if you open the doors, they would walk away. Not a single person's ever going to stay in that cell if you open the cell. Now, this is the same thing our Creator's Son was saying. Please don't make me do this, but if you make me, I understand. It's your will. I will do what you say. He's obeying the Torah of his Father. And he came and found them sleeping and said to Kepha, "Shimon, are you sleeping? You were not able to watch 1 hour? Watch and pray, lest you enter into trial. The spirit is indeed eager, but the flesh is weak." That's the Christians. The Christians will say that all the time. Ah, well, the spirit's strong, but the flesh is weak. You know, and they'll sit there and chow down their pig and chow down the stuff and not really care anything about what our Creator says. 39. And again, he went away and prayed and spoke the same words. And having returned, he found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy, and they did not know what to answer him. So this is a bad deal. Messiah is struggling. He's having a very, very, very bad moment in his existence right here. In these moments and existences, this is where we're looking for family and for friends and people that will stand up with us and support us through our dying moments. And not a single one of these guys was able to do this for him. All the way to the bitter end, our Messiah had a very difficult life and a very, very not good life. Continuing on, 41. And he came the third time and said to them, "Are you still sleeping and resting? It is enough. The hour has come. See, the bin of Adam is being delivered up into the hands of sinners. Rise up. Let us go. See, he is who is delivering me up has drawn near." And immediately, while he was still speaking, Yehuda, one of the 12, with a large crowd with swords and clubs, came from the chief Kohanim and the scribes and the elders. And the one who was delivering him up had given them a signal, saying, "Whomever I kiss, it is he. Seize him and lead him away safely." And going straight up to him, he said to him, "Rabbi, Rabbi," and kissed him. And they laid their hands on him and seized him. And one of those standing by drew his sword and struck the servant of the Kohen and Hagdadal and cut off his ear. And we know from other scriptures and other pieces, this was our homeboy Kefa. And Yahushua answered and said to them, "Have you come out as against a robber with swords and clubs to take me? Daily I was with you in the Mikdash teaching, and you did not seize me, but let the scriptures be filled." And they all left him and fled. And a certain young man was following him, having a linen cloth over his nakedness. And when they seized him, he left the linen cloth and fled from them naked.
That's so weird. Just that right there.
This is a strange thing in scriptures, and we have no answers for any of this. One of these days, probably when we're long dead, we could probably ask Messiah what exactly this was all about. There was obviously something here, but there's a young man. They beat him up and they stole his clothes. And so why they beat him up, why they took his clothes, we don't know. We can only assume, we can only question it, so we don't know. But it is one of these very interesting pieces of scripture. Okay, 53. And they led Yahushua away to the Kohanim Hagdadal, and all the chief Kohanim and the elders and the scribes came together to him. And Kefa followed him at a distance, even into the courtyard of the Kohanim Hagdadal. And he was sitting with the officers and warming himself at the fire. And the chief Kohen and all the council were seeking witness against Yahushua to put him to death, and they were finding none. For many bore false witness against him, but their evidences did not agree. So, based upon the Torah, a man is convicted at the behest of multiple witnesses. And this was the charade that these people that were supposed to be Torah keepers, this was a complete kangaroo court. This was one of these setups where Messiah got railroaded. And when you get railroaded, there's no hope. And I've seen it. I've seen all these guys, a lot of guys on death row. You'll have a black guy with an all-white jury, with a white prosecutor and a white judge, and they sentence him to death row in under 90 days. And it's a kangaroo court. And this is why we want to fall under the hands of the Torah and not the hands of man. 56. For many bore false witness against him, but their evidences did not agree. And some rose up and bore false witness against him, saying, "We heard him saying, I shall destroy this Mishkan that is made with hands, and within 3 days I shall make another made without hands." And we know that this is not what Messiah meant. This is not talking about the temple. This was not talking about the physical temple. This was talking about the body and the temple of our Messiah that was going to be killed and destroyed and would be rebuilt inside of 3 days. And not even then did their witness agree. Then the Kohen and Hagdadal stood up in the center and asked Yahushua, saying, "Have you no answer to make? What do these witness against you?" But he remained silent and gave no answer. Again, the Kohen and Hagdadal asked him, saying to him, "Are you the Hamashiach, the bin of the Baruch?" And Yahushua said, "I am. And you shall see the bin of Adam sitting at the right hand of the Almighty and coming with the clouds of the Shamayim. Okay, this is yet again a Trinity breaking verse. This is how if the Father and the Son are the exact same entity, how is it possible that the Son is going to sit at the right hand of the Father? Doesn't make any sense, right? You explain this to the Trinitarians, but the glaze is in their eyes, and only thing they believe is what the deceiving, lying preacher guy has told them, and it's a mess. 63. And tearing his garments, the Kohen and Hagdadal said, "What further evidence do we have of witnesses? What further need do we have of witnesses? You have heard the blasphemy. What do you think?" And they all condemned him to be liable to death. And some began to spit on him and to blindfold him and beat him and to say to him, "Never prophesy." And the officers struck him with the palms of their hands. And as Kepha was below in the courtyard, one of the servant girls in the Kohen Hagdadal came. And seeing Kepha warming himself, she looked at him and said, "And you were with Yahushua of Nazareth?" But he denied it, saying, "I do not know nor understand what you are saying." And he went out on the porch, and a cock crowed. And the servant girl saw him again, and began to say to those who stood by, "This is one of them." And again, he was denying it. And after a little while, those who stood by again said to Kepha, "Truly, you are one of them, for you are a Galilean too, and your speech is alike." And he began to curse and swear, "I do not know this man of whom you speak." There's Kepha, right? This was happening as Messiah said, right? Not only did he deny him, but he's sitting there swearing it up.
He's getting crazy.
He's getting nuts. Like, God, what? Get away from me. And a second time the cock crowed, and Kepha remembered the word of Yahushua, had said to him before the cock crows twice, "You shall deny me 3 times." And thinking on it, he wept. All right, so let's go over anything in chat. Anything in chat, Mr. Cole?
Back to where the guy got beat up and his clothes taken away.
Yeah.
The Grand said that she read that it was Mark.
That was Mark?
Uh-huh.
They got beat up?
She heard that it was Mark, and also read where it is said that Mark scribed for Peter.
Huh. Interesting.
Okay, but why did they just beat him up for just because he was there?
Well, linen clothes are like good. They took off with his clothes, man.
Yeah, but these dudes, like, why just name one crime they did that night? I'm sure they did a lot more crimes.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, no, it could be. All we can do is really speculate on any of this out there. All right, I think we are good. And Nimrod, Samaramus, and Tammuz. Yeah, the original Trinity. Exactly.
And then just back up a little ways a while ago. Merca Patriot has some new lambs. He has 9 ewes and 2 rams that were
Nice.
just born.
Nice.
And
Congratulations.
then we need to pray for Curtis. He's on 1,000 miles into his journey into the Ozark from the coast of California, being led by the Ruach, seeking Kingdom Works and Pesach at his truck stop for Shabbat.
Wow. Well, we'll pray for all of you guys, man. We will definitely pray for all of you guys. Daughter of Abraham says she's confused about the lotus killing with Solomon. It was locusts, right? Why did he kill locusts? He killed the locust because one of his wives had been begging him to sacrifice to Baal or to some other deity, and he had not done that. But when they decided to, he picked up the live locusts and crushed them in his hands, and that was the sacrifice, right? So that is literally the sacrifice, and that is when the power of Yah separated. That is when Solomon ended up losing all the kingdoms. I mean, Solomon was just a flunky. That guy's just for being as wise as he was, he ended up being the most stupid of all, and so continually going against it. So
And then back to talking about how the Christians say they're blessed
Yep.
and whatnot. But this was kind of surprising to me. Richie James says, "I was blessed by the devil for 10 years selling illegal substances, but I chose Yah when I was given the understanding."
I believe, yeah, absolutely. The devil will bless those. You can go through and look at all of the satanic artists, Bob Dylan, Katy Perry, the Satanist Katy Perry, every one of the Madonna, the Satanist little witch warlock woman. Every single one of them have come out. Eminem has come out. Tupac came out. Everybody says, "I've sold my soul to the devil." And most of them are saying the price is cheap. Jay-Z came out and said that. Every single one of these Satanist demons have made their best life now, and they've done it at the expense of their soul, at the hands of the devil, and the devil goes to that crossroads. In fact, it was like what, 1930s when the very first guy that black guy went to the crossroads and said he sold his soul to the devil, and he was playing that guitar. I think it was in the 30s. And after he went to the crossroads and sold his soul, he started playing, and he became the most famous dude of all time. So famous I can't remember him, but I'm sure somebody out there probably knows who I'm talking about. But I was watching that, reading that a couple weeks ago, and they're all convinced, right? You can go to the crossroads, you can sell your soul if that's what you want, so be it. The devil will gladly give you whatever earthly garbage you want at the expense of your soul. And
Bob Dylan.
yeah, Bob Dylan, yeah, for sure, Bob Dylan, definitely. Bob Dylan said he sold his soul to the chief commander. And Ed Bradley said, "What do you mean, the chief commander? What are you talking about?" He goes, "Well, the chief commander of this life and the life to come." It's just like that. For anybody who knows Bob Dylan, hopefully I did a good impression there. But anyway, that's it, guys. Seek Yahuwah where he's able to be found. Read the Torah. If you have never taken the Torah challenge, the first 5-book challenge that I offer everybody, and I encourage everybody to do, if you have not read the Torah 5 times slowly as a student of learning, then I would suggest you give that a run, because once you read that Torah 5 times, you're not going to be able to be deceived. You're not going to fall in the hands of all these false teachers and all these people out there that are trying to keep you away from the kingdom. All right, so with that, everybody, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Jade, will you please bless our brothers and sisters?
Yahuwah barak you and guard you. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and show favor to you. Yahuwah lift his face upon you and give you peace.
Okay. All right, much love, everybody. Let's do it.
Yeah. Oh. 6 days I labor, 6 days I strive. But when the sun sets, I come alive. The world keeps running, but I stand still, obeying your command, Yahuwah's will. No working hands, no toiling ground, only peace and joy abound. A day of rest, a gift so true, Yahuwah, I delight in you. Shabbat shalom, a time of peace, a quarter sign that will not cease. I lay it down, I leave it all, and in your presence I stand tall. No buy and sell it, just pure delight in Yahuwah's rest from evening light. A day for worship, a time to be with family close and heart set free. I hear your voice in stillness deep. You call me close, my soul to keep. Your love surrounds, your spirit leads. You give me rest, you meet my needs. Set apart from worldly ways, I lift my voice in songs of praise. Your covenant forever stands. I trust, obey, and lift my hands. The work is done, the table set. Your silent peace I won't forget. I breathe it in, I let it flow. A glimpse of what's to come, I know. Shabbat shalom, a time of peace, a quarter sound that will not cease. I lay it down, I leave it all, and in your presence I stand tall. From week to week, this truth remains, a day of joy and touched by chains. Oh Yahuwah, my King, my rest, in your Sabbath I am blessed. No buy and selling, just pure delight in Yahuwah's rest from evening light. No buy and selling, just pure delight in Yahuwah's rest, for heart set free. No buy and selling, just pure delight in Yahuwah's rest, for heart set free. No buy and selling, just pure delight in Yahuwah's rest, for heart set free. From week to week, this truth remains, a day of joy and touched by chains. Oh Yahuwah, my King, my rest, in your Sabbath I am blessed.
All right, everybody. Shabbat shalom. May Yahuwah bless you and keep you. May his light forever shine on you. May the Torah be involved in every last aspect of your life. And may we all high-five each other in the kingdom to come, as we have been obedient, loyal creatures to our Creator, who has asked us to